My name is Brian Partridge. I'm the Research Director for Applied Infrastructure and DevOps and IoT Research Practices at 451 Research, now a part of S&P Global. Joining me today is Keith Szot, VP of Innovation and Solutions at Esper. Hey Keith.
Brian, great to be here today.
Today we're going to spend a few minutes talking about dedicated device fleets and their role in supporting modern business strategy and digital transformation and delivering on new customer experiences. Before we dive in, I want to quickly clarify what we mean when we say dedicated devices. So dedicated device fleets can leverage a range of hardware platforms such as tablets, single-purpose IoT devices, medical sensors, POS terminals, x86 class devices, essentially anything you can wear, look at, or stand in front of. It's important to note that dedicated devices in this context are not standard issue employee productivity devices such as corporate liable and BYD smartphones, tablets, and laptops.
Yes, thank you, Brian. It's critical to make that distinction. Now, it's pretty well known that organizations have increased adoption of dedicated devices. Can you talk about the driving forces behind the growing interest in dedicated device fleets and what the future holds for them?
I think it simply comes down to two things. One is these dedicated devices provide a central component and foundation to the overall digital transformation strategy. So what is that? So I need to digitize my business processes and I need to enhance my digital posture in front of customers. The other side of that coin, of course, our customers are demanding that companies bring them digital experiences. So the customers desire them. If they don't get them from the company, from your firm, then they're going to look elsewhere to get those experiences. And then the third thing to mention is that the underlying infrastructure in terms of software, operating systems, and hardware have really gotten to a point of maturity and application support that they can really support the type of scale required in the marketplace.
Now, ever since I started at Esper almost 3 years ago, there has been no data to show how enterprises are adopting, driving dedicated devices. And with COVID, we've seen an acceleration of dedicated device fleets, but the data hasn't existed. So that's why I'm so excited about the study that's been conducted and would love to hear you describe the project that we did to help figure this out.
What we actually jointly noticed was that there is a tremendous amount of research focused on the consumer and corporate liable BYOD side of device management and operations and app, but nothing really focused on this special area, which I really look at the convergence of IoT and mission critical business processes and DevOps. So we decided to do a joint study. We focused on respondents in mid-size and larger companies in the sort of places that really use these dedicated devices, so restaurants, healthcare, retail. And what we're after is really to provide fresh insights about the role of dedicated devices in these places, the types of tooling and software support that they had, any gaps in that existing tooling, and then we spent quite a bit of real estate trying to drill into and understand how DevOps and Agile development philosophy and practices were aligning up with the mobile app side or not.
Now, I've had the opportunity to review the paper, and there are a lot of findings in this research. Brian, what stood out for you?
Well, I think that we had a hypothesis that Android would be the most popular operating system for a number of reasons, and we were validated in that hypothesis. About 40% of respondents indicate that they're working with Android for a number of reasons. Also, a major takeaway was that companies are really struggling with the existing tooling to deal with managing these device fleets, especially as they scale and become more diverse. Existing MDM is letting people down. I think 75% of the people we spoke with are having challenges with their commercial off-the-shelf tooling, which has required them to take an additional step, which is to create custom tools to manage the diversity of sort of the special requirements of the fleets that they have.
Now, it's interesting because generally enterprise IT and software developers appear to understand the benefits of DevOps, quality, security, collaboration, but yet they seem to be stuck in the world of the waterfall model. So what do you think is causing them to be stuck, and how can we move forward with this?
Yeah, well, I think obviously companies like yourself are going to help to move the needle there, but I think it does come down generally to culture communication, a misalignment of the org structure and teams, and then an incongruence of the tooling to actually make that happen. So that when it comes down to it, it's really about the cultural inertia and then not having the right tools in place to make it happen. Our research left no doubt that the expectation for dedicated device fleets are high, especially for those large fleets, and was indicated by the expected growth. But that said, our survey uncovered unmet technical and cultural challenges that app developers and IT op stakeholders struggle with, including gaps in existing solutions. Keith, can you talk about some of the things that Esper does to help clients with that situation?
Yeah, absolutely. In order to build DevOps or against DevOps, you need infrastructure. And Esper provides the infrastructure required to do DevOps in the dedicated device world. So when you talk about infrastructure, it includes APIs, it includes the right type of console with the engine driving it, and the right kind of developer tooling as well. For better or for worse, the ability for companies trying to build and manage these dedicated device fleets has been traditionally blocked by device management. So we're basically addressing it by pouring the foundation for device management, and on top of it, building the DevOps infrastructure that our customers use day in and day out to deliver their solutions with a DevOps approach to whatever degree they wish. If they want to take a snack of it, they can. If they want to do the full meal deal, they can go full DevOps. It's really up to them on where their organization is on their journey to true DevOps.
So Keith, Esper's working with some real interesting digital transformation leaders. What do they do differently, and how are they innovating?
We have customers all over the world using Esper. A couple of my favorites, so Romtech is one, and it's interesting because Romtech is a startup that is building recumbent exercise bikes for patients that are recovering from knee surgery. And they have a build process where they build their devices in a batch and they put them in inventory. Yet they're an agile company in terms of how they advance their customer experience through their app. What that means is these devices can sit in the warehouse anywhere from weeks to months. When they drop ship them to their end customer, which are patients that recently have had surgery, typically elderly, the last thing they want is a protracted setup experience to be able to use the bike. So what we did for them is when the device starts up, even if it's a few releases behind the current version, Esper automatically checks and silently updates the app so that when the user is ready to engage with the bike, it has the freshest version, the latest version, and provides the right customer experience that Romtech wants to deliver right out of the box. So very clean, crisp, and done via code, by the way. Another example is a quick service restaurant chain that you've likely eaten at before with a worldwide footprint. A common challenge when you're dealing with restaurant and retail space is x86-based systems that have legacy operating systems on them that are no longer supported. So think security patches, a stale technology stack. It's a stark choice for these customers in that they need to rip and replace these systems, resulting in millions of dollars of capital expenditure. What we did is we partnered with this customer to bring our special built Android operating system for x86 to be able to convert these systems from Windows in this case over to modern Android that then could drive their also modern cloud infrastructure and put them on the road to DevOps. We actually did this over the air, so it was a very efficient method to be able to move from Windows over to Android. It didn't require thousands of people and it didn't require truck rolls. It was all done very efficiently, silently, and also able to accomplish millions of dollars of savings for this particular customer.
I guess generally, Keith, when you think about supporting innovation within your customers, what do new customers, what can they expect when they work with Esper? And how is your approach different from maybe your competitive alternatives?
Yeah, so it's interesting in that what to me is unique in dedicated devices is that by definition, the device, the OS with device management and the app encompasses the solution and therefore the customer experience that you're trying to create. Whether it's operational or revenue producing, all those pieces together need to be finely crafted and tuned in order to deliver the right CX that our customers are looking for. That's typically not easy to do in Android and near impossible with traditional MDM because that's not what it's designed for. What we do at Esper is really closely engage with prospects and customers to understand the CX that they're trying to create and help them achieve that by honing not only what Esper provides, but also fitting into the other pieces of infrastructure that are part of the customer solution. So that's the key. We really work very closely with our prospects and customers to show how Esper can deliver exactly the use case that they're trying to create using the Android operating system with a modern cloud solution driven by DevOps.
Keith, I think we're up at time, so I'd like to thank you for joining me today.
Brian, it was great to be here. If you want to find out more about what we do, please visit esper.io and start your journey to DevOps.
Excellent. If you'd like to get in touch with me, look me up on LinkedIn, or you can always access our research at 451research.com.